Foldable phones have come a long way, but if the latest leaks are anything to go by, Samsung is about to reset the entire industry. We're not talking about a minor spec bump or a fancy new color. We are looking at a massive architectural shift for the Galaxy Z Fold 8 that could change how you use a phone forever. The biggest news? Samsung might finally be moving away from that tall, narrow design we've seen for years. According to a major new tip, the Z Fold 8 is going wider, lighter, and significantly more ergonomic. But here is where it gets mysterious. The leaks aren't just talking about one phone. Samsung is reportedly working on two different flagship book-style foldables. One model will be the classic evolution we've come to expect, refined, polished, and familiar. But the second version? That is the one designed to be a foldable killer. It's rumored to be much wider, specifically engineered to go head-to-head with Apple's first foldable when it finally hits the market. This wider version is expected to feature a massive 8-inch inner screen, essentially giving you a high-performance iPad mini that fits in your pocket. To make a screen that big actually portable, Samsung is ditching traditional materials. They are reportedly testing a new chassis made from carbon fiber reinforced plastic. It's a material that's incredibly strong but light enough to shave off the bulk that usually makes foldables feel like bricks in your pocket. Under the hood, Samsung is pulling out the heavy hitters. We're looking at the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. This isn't just about speed, it's about the efficiency needed to power two screens without melting the battery. Speaking of power, the leaks point to a jump to a 5000 mAh battery. That's a significant 600 mAh increase over the previous generation, which is a total game changer for a device with this much screen real estate. And for the photographers, the 200 megapixel main sensor is returning, but with a twist. Samsung is refining the processing to extract even more detail and low light performance from that massive sensor, aiming to make this the first foldable that truly rivals the S26 Ultra in camera quality. The big reveal is expected this July, following Samsung's consistent summer launch window. The real question is, will they launch both models together or keep us waiting for the ultra-wide version? Now, I want to hear from you. Are you ready for a wider, tablet-sized fold, or do you think the current slim design is actually better for one-handed use? Drop your thoughts in the comments because the foldable wars are just getting started. Something strange is happening in the smartphone world, and it might completely change the future of foldable phones. For years, foldables have felt like a cool experiment. Impressive technology, sure, but still not perfect. Too thick, too heavy, sometimes awkward to use, and often ridiculously expensive. Many people loved the idea of a folding phone, but very few believed it was ready to replace a normal smartphone. But now, a new leak about Samsung's next foldable has just surfaced, and if it turns out to be true, it could be the moment foldables finally become mainstream. Because this time, Samsung might not just be upgrading the Galaxy Fold. They might be reinventing it. The device everyone is talking about right now is the upcoming Galaxy Z Fold 8. And according to multiple reports coming out of the supply chain, Samsung is planning something very different from what we've seen in previous generations. At first glance, the changes sound simple. The next fold could be wider, lighter, and much more comfortable to use. But those three words might solve the biggest problems foldable phones have faced since the very beginning. Let's start with the first big change. The width. If you've ever used a foldable phone before, you probably notice something a little strange about the outer screen. When the phone is closed, the display feels tall and narrow, almost like using half of a normal smartphone. Typing can feel cramped. Watching videos isn't ideal. And sometimes it just doesn't feel natural. Samsung knows this. And now, leaks suggest they might finally fix it. The next Galaxy Fold could feature a significantly wider outer display, making it feel much closer to a regular smartphone when the device is closed. That means texting becomes easier. Browsing feels more natural. And you might not even need to unfold the phone. As often for everyday tasks. Then comes the real magic. When you open the phone, you're greeted by a massive internal display rumored to be around 8 inches. That's practically a small tablet hiding in your pocket. Imagine watching movies on a screen that large, multitasking between apps, editing documents, or playing games on something that feels closer to an iPad than a phone. But here's the twist that makes this leak even more interesting. Some insiders believe Samsung isn't releasing just one Fold this year. They might release two. One would be the traditional Galaxy Z Fold design we already know. A refined version of the current model with better performance, improved durability, and a few design tweaks. But the second device, that's where things get exciting. According to rumors, Samsung could be developing a wider version of the Fold design specifically to compete with the upcoming foldable iPhone that Apple is rumored to be building. In other words, Samsung might be preparing for the biggest foldable battle the industry has ever seen. Apple entering the foldable market could change everything. And Samsung, the current king of foldables, clearly isn't planning to sit back and watch. They're preparing. And that preparation doesn't stop at the design. Another major focus for the new Fold appears to be weight. One of the most common complaints about foldable phones is how heavy they feel compared to regular smartphones. Even though the technology is impressive, carrying a thick, heavy device every day can become tiring. Samsung reportedly has a solution. Engineers are experimenting with a new chassis built from carbon fiber reinforced plastic. This material is incredibly strong but also extremely lightweight. If these reports are accurate, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 could become noticeably lighter while still maintaining the durability needed for a folding device. And that's important because foldables have moving parts. Hinges. Flexible screens. Internal components that need to survive thousands of folds. Making the device lighter without sacrificing strength is a huge engineering challenge. But Samsung seems determined to pull it off. Now let's talk about performance, because this phone is expected to be an absolute powerhouse. Under the hood, the Galaxy Z Fold 8 is rumored to run on Qualcomm's next flagship processor, the Snapdragon 8 Elite Gen 5. This chip could deliver a massive boost in both speed and efficiency. Apps will launch instantly. Games will run smoother. And multitasking on that massive internal display should feel faster than ever. But the upgrades don't stop there. Camera technology is also expected to take a huge leap forward. Leaks suggest Samsung might equip the Fold 8 with a massive 200-megapixel main camera. That's the kind of sensor typically reserved for premium flagship phones. A camera like that could dramatically improve photo detail, low light performance, and zoom capabilities. In other words, the Fold might finally compete with the very best camera phones on the market, something earlier foldables struggled with. And then we arrive at one of the most important features for any smartphone. Battery life. Foldable devices have giant displays, powerful processors, and complex hardware. All of that demands serious battery power. Samsung is reportedly planning to increase the battery capacity to around 5,000 mAh. That's a noticeable jump from the previous generation. It may not sound like a massive increase, but on a device like this, even a few hundred extra mAh can translate into significantly longer usage time. More video watching. More multitasking. More gaming, without constantly searching for a charger. Now here's the interesting part. Some smartphone brands have started experimenting with new battery technologies like silicon carbon cells to push capacity even higher. So far, it doesn't look like Samsung will adopt that technology just yet. But that doesn't mean it won't happen in the future. For now, it seems Samsung is focusing on refining what already works, improving the design, reducing the weight, and boosting performance where it matters most. And if the company sticks to its usual schedule, we might not have to wait very long to see it. Samsung typically reveals its foldable lineup during the summer. That means the Galaxy Z Fold 8 could arrive sometime around July. And if the rumors about two different Fold models turn out to be true, this launch could become one of the most exciting smartphone events of the entire year. Because it wouldn't just be another phone release. It would be Samsung doubling down on the future of foldable technology right as new competitors prepare to enter the market. The question is no longer whether foldables will succeed. The real question is who will dominate them. Samsung, Apple, or someone else entirely. But now I want to hear your opinion.